Right now, there's a woman thinking about you, not casually, not in passing. She's replaying a moment with you in her mind. Maybe a conversation, maybe just the way you looked at her. And here's the thing that'll mess with your head. She will never admit it. She can't. Because society taught her that showing desire makes her seem desperate. So instead, she hides it behind tiny signals that most men completely miss. Here's what nobody talks about. A study from the Kinsey Institute found that women think about someone they're attracted to approximately 63% more often than men do when feelings are involved. 63%. That's not a small number. That's obsession level mental real estate. But here's where it gets interesting. While she's running scenarios in her head about you, fantasizing about conversations, moments, possibilities, you're probably sitting there completely clueless, wondering if she even knows your name. And that's the tragedy, because she's screaming at you in a language you were never taught to understand. Today, I'm going to hand you the decoder. 9 hidden signs that a woman is secretly fantasizing about you. Signals so subtle that 95% of men walk right past them without even noticing. And sign number 7? That one changed everything for me. It's the one sign that seems like rejection on the surface, but actually means she's completely consumed by thoughts of you. But I need to warn you first. Some of what you're about to hear might be uncomfortable. You might realize you missed your shot with someone who was practically begging you to notice her. Or worse, you might realize someone's thinking about you right now, and you've been too blind to act on it. Let's get into it. Before I break down these 9 signs, you need to understand something fundamental. A woman's attraction isn't like a light switch. It's more like a slow building fire. It starts with a spark. Maybe something you said, maybe the way you carried yourself. And then it sits there, smoldering in her mind. She'll replay that moment. She'll add to it. She'll create entire scenarios around it. Dr. Helen Fisher, a biological anthropologist who spent 20 years studying romantic love, found that when someone is romantically interested, the brain's reward system gets hijacked. The same pathways that activate during addiction light up when you're thinking about someone you're attracted to. So, when I say she can't stop thinking about you, I mean it literally. These 9 signs are the result of behavioral research and psychological studies. And what makes them powerful is that they're involuntary. She can't fake them. She can't hide them. They leak out no matter how hard she tries. Sign number 1 is something I call the memory phenomenon. Here's how you spot it. She remembers things about you that you barely remember saying. You're having a conversation with her, maybe 3 weeks after your first interaction. And suddenly she says something like, "So how did that presentation go? You mentioned you were nervous about it last time." You stop. You think. You barely remember telling her about any presentation. It was a throwaway comment. But she held on to it. She cataloged it. She stored it in her mental file labeled with your name. Research from Northwestern University found that we only retain detailed memories of things that have emotional significance to us. The mundane stuff gets filtered out. So when someone remembers small, insignificant details about you, your coffee order, your sister's name, that random story about your childhood, it means you've been promoted from background noise to emotionally significant. Think about someone you don't care about. Do you remember what they said 3 weeks ago? Of course not, because your brain didn't assign value to that information. But she assigned value to you. Sign number 2 is the phone behavior shift. We live in an era where the average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. It's an addiction hardwired into our dopamine systems. But here's what happens when a woman is fantasizing about you. When she's with you, that phone becomes invisible. She puts it face down. She doesn't check notifications. She doesn't scroll while you're talking. Her attention is locked onto you like you're the only source of stimulation that matters. A Stanford study on attention showed that when we're genuinely captivated by something, our brains suppress our awareness of distractions. It's called selective attention. And it only happens when something has tremendous value to us. But here's the sneaky part most guys miss. Sometimes she'll actually be on her phone more when she's around you. Why? Because she's nervous. She's using it as a shield. The tell is in how she holds it. If she's using it as a distraction, but keeps glancing at you, keeps positioning her body toward you, that's the giveaway. The phone is a prop. You're the main event. Sign number 3 is the vocal shift. Multiple studies, including research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior, found that women unconsciously change their voice when speaking to someone they're attracted to. Their pitch goes higher, their tone becomes softer, their speech patterns shift to mirror the person they're talking to. This isn't something she can control. It's primal. It's rooted in evolutionary biology. A higher pitch signals youth and femininity. Her body is literally advertising itself to you without her permission. Here's how you test this. Listen to how she talks to other people. Pay attention to her baseline voice, then pay attention to how she sounds when she's talking to you. Is there a difference? Is there a softness that wasn't there before? Does she laugh a little easier, speak a little slower? If yes, her subconscious is doing everything it can to signal that you are different from everyone else. Sign number 4 is the orbiting pattern. When a woman is secretly fantasizing about you, she'll position herself in your space without directly approaching you. She's orbiting, like a satellite caught in gravitational pull. At parties, you'll notice she ends up near you, more than coincidence would allow. In group settings, she somehow always ends up in your eye line. At work, she takes the long route that happens to pass by your desk. This isn't random. This is calculated, even if she's not consciously aware of it. A buddy of mine was completely oblivious to a woman who was into him. She worked in a different department, but somehow she'd end up in the kitchen every single time he went to make coffee. Every single time. He thought it was coincidence, until I pointed out that the odds of that happening randomly were astronomical. She was timing her breaks around his schedule. When he finally asked her out, she admitted she'd had a crush on him for months, and he almost missed it because he thought coffee timing was just a funny coincidence. Sign number 5 is the jealousy flash. A woman who's fantasizing about you won't be able to completely hide her reaction when another woman enters your orbit. This doesn't mean she'll throw a tantrum. It's way more subtle. It might be a micro expression, a flash of tension across her face that disappears in half a second. It might be a change in her posture, suddenly sitting up straighter, becoming more animated, competing for your attention without acknowledging that's what she's doing. Or it might come out in her words. She might suddenly become dismissive of the other woman. "Oh, she seems nice," said in a tone that clearly communicates she does not think she seems nice. When we fantasize about someone, we start to feel a sense of ownership, not in a controlling way, but in an emotional way. This person occupies mental space that feels private, special, and when something threatens that, it triggers a possessive response. The key is watching for incongruence. If her words say she doesn't care, but her body language says otherwise, that's the jealousy flash. Sign number 6 is the extended texting window. When a woman is fantasizing about you, she won't just respond to your texts. She'll extend them beyond their natural endpoint. Normal conversations have natural conclusions. You say something, she responds. You wrap it up, conversation over. But when she's into you, she can't let it end. She'll add a question, she'll bring up a new topic, she'll send a meme hours later just to restart the dialogue. Why? Because texting you gives her a hit of dopamine. It lets her feel connected to you. And she doesn't want that feeling to stop. Pay attention to the timing of her texts. A study on digital communication patterns found that people tend to reach out to those they're fantasizing about during quiet moments. Late at night, first thing in the morning, during boring periods when their mind is wandering. If she's texting you at 11 p.m. with something random, it means you crossed her mind when she had nothing else to distract her. That's powerful. In the quiet spaces of her life, when she could be thinking about anything, she's choosing to think about you. Sign number 7 is the one I told you about at the beginning. It's the paradox of avoidance. Sometimes a woman who's intensely fantasizing about you will actually seem to avoid you. This sounds contradictory, so let me explain. When feelings get overwhelming, some people don't run toward them. They run away. It's a protective mechanism. The intensity of her feelings scares her. So instead of acting interested, she might avoid eye contact. She might seem awkward around you. She might even seem cold. And most guys interpret this as rejection and walk away. Massive mistake. Here's how you tell the difference between genuine disinterest and overwhelm avoidance. When someone genuinely doesn't care about you, there's neutrality. No tension, no awkwardness, just complete indifference. But when someone's avoiding you because they're fantasizing about you, there's an undercurrent of tension. You can feel something in the air. She seems uncomfortable, yes, but not in a dismissive way, in an almost flustered way. She might stumble over words. She might seem overly formal. She might relax around everyone except you. That energy, that's the energy of someone whose nervous system is on fire because you're in the room. If you sense this dynamic, the move is to make her comfortable. Be warm, be non-threatening. Give her space to relax around you. Once she realizes you're safe, the walls come down. Sign number 8 is the third-party intel gathering. When a woman is fantasizing about you, she needs more information. She needs to know more about you than what you've directly told her. So what does she do? She goes to your friends. She goes to mutual acquaintances. She finds people who know you and starts asking questions, but casually, subtly, in a way that doesn't reveal her true intent. So, how do you know him? Is he always like that? Does he have a girlfriend? That last one is the big tell. If she's asking about your relationship status through a third party, she's not just curious, she's calculating. She's trying to figure out if the fantasy she's building in her head has any chance of becoming reality. If your friends start acting weird, dropping hints, giving you knowing looks, asking strange questions about this specific girl, it's because she's gotten to them. She's put feelers out, and now they're carrying information back and forth. Pay attention to the social network. The people around you often know things are brewing before you do. Sign number 9 is physical unconscious signals. When a woman fantasizes about you, her body starts betraying her. There are involuntary responses she simply cannot control. Her pupils dilate when she looks at you. A study from the University of Chicago found that pupil dilation is directly linked to romantic interest. When she's attracted, her pupils get bigger. It's an involuntary response controlled by the autonomic nervous system. She touches her face and hair more. This is called self-soothing behavior. When we're nervous or excited, we unconsciously touch ourselves to calm down. If she's constantly adjusting her hair or touching her neck when you're around, her body is responding to your presence. She mirrors your body language. If you lean in, she leans in. If you cross your arms, she crosses hers. Mirroring is a subconscious signal of rapport and connection. Her skin might actually flush. Increased blood flow to the face is a physiological response to attraction. If she seems to get slightly pinker when you're talking to her, that's her blood vessels responding. She plays with objects. She'll twist a ring, fidget with a straw, run her finger around the rim of a glass. This is nervous energy looking for an outlet. These signals bypass conscious control. She might be playing it cool, acting like she's not interested, but her body is sending out flares in a language that existed long before words did. So let's bring this together. You now have 9 signs that a woman is secretly fantasizing about you, from the memory phenomenon to the physical unconscious signals that her body produces without permission. But here's the real insight. These signs aren't just about detecting attraction. They're about understanding human connection. We all walk around carrying feelings we're too scared to express, attractions we're too nervous to act on. And most of the time, these feelings die quietly because nobody notices them. The person who learns to read these signals becomes more attuned to the people around them. They recognize that behind every polite smile, every nervous laugh, there might be someone hoping to be seen. Now here's what I want you to do. In the next 7 days, Pick one of these signs, just one, and actively look for it, not obsessively, just with awareness. Because attention is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And right now, there might be someone in your life sending you signals that you've been completely blind to. When you notice something, come back to this video and drop a comment telling me what sign you recognized. I read every comment, and I want to know what you're seeing now that you weren't before. Because that comment is proof that you're becoming someone who pays attention, someone who sees what others miss, someone who doesn't let opportunities pass by. And that kind of person? That kind of person doesn't stay single unless they want to. I'll see you in the comments.